This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. Online at madeformorerealty.com.
So buyers are backing out in record numbers right now.
In record numbers?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, people are just so nervous. They're so nervous.
What are they nervous about?
Well,
If they're in it and they're putting in offers, what all of a sudden happens? I know we talked about, inspections and all of that, but is it something else that they're nervous about?
I think just overall sentiment is this a good decision? Is this the right time to buy? And so if a home seller is like, hey, let's price it a little high. I know what you're saying, Johnny, is it should be here, but let's try a little high and see what goes. Let's see if we can get some offers there first. Because they don't want to, air quotes, leave any money on the table.
Right.
Horrible idea. We've talked about that before. But you got to think like a buyer right now. What are they hearing? They're hearing prices are softening. They're hearing interest rates may be coming down.
Right.
So in order to get them from, hey, I'm interested in buying a house, to actually pulling the trigger, going through escrow, making the move, putting money down, your house has to be compelling enough for them to go through all that and potentially risk your house now being, their new house now being worth less than when they paid for it, when they bought it. So I think that's a lot of the nervousness around. They know long term it'll be fine, but it still stinks when you close on a house on a Monday or in October, and then in October a year later it's worth less. Right. That Zestimate, that almighty Zestimate is below what you paid for. That stings. And so in order to get people off the fence, you really have to price these homes correctly.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
But that leads us into, why isn't my house selling? I get that question a lot. People because they see the billboards. They hear us on the radio, whether it's on the show or on the other stations that we advertise on,
right?
Or whether they see the YouTube videos or we have a very large presence in the market, and so people call me all the time that are listed. I am not actively seeking these people, just to be clear. I am not actively seeking them, or maybe they interviewed with me before. And so they kind of know they kind of know me, and they've tried the cheaper option, and they're like, hey, I don't want to deal with the cheaper option. I want to go with Johnny.
Right.
And so they're coming back. And so, for example, there was a property in El Dorado Hills. Beautiful home. Probably worth $1.4 million. Mm-hmm. The guy wanted 1.5, 1.6. I told him, there's no way you're getting this for this house. So he ended up going with somebody who said that they could get it for him.
Right.
And then they start adjusting the price down. And classic realtor, right? Classic realtor move.
Classic.
And he calls me up and he says, hey, Johnny, I'm wanting to know what you can do better for me. Like, I'm thinking I might switch to you. What can you do better? And I go, well, let's pull up the listing. I looked at the listing. It was stunning. The agent had done a phenomenal job. Maybe priced it a little too aggressively, or a little too optimistically. But other than that, the photos were great. He paid to have it staged. When I was in the house before, there were things that needed to get fixed. The photos looked like those had been fixed. And so I told the guy, your agent's doing a phenomenal job for you. Like, stay with your agent. Like, he's not, stay with this guy. He hasn't done anything wrong. What you need to do is you need to adjust your price. So because I wasn't involved, I just told him, hey, you're way overpriced. You need to adjust the price. I told you this before. And he didn't like that.
Sure.
But I don't care. He's not paying me.
Right.
I'm giving him free advice right now. Right. And it just makes me mad. So hopefully if somebody else sees one of my listings, they'll be like, hey, stick with Johnny, just adjust the price. And that if you're only being told what you want to hear, then maybe you don't have the right people around you.
Yeah.
And so don't be going to your friends. Don't be going, when's the last time your friend sold a house? Right? Or your neighbor. When's the last time you've lived next to him for 15 years? He hasn't sold a house in 15 years. Right? Why are you going to them and getting their opinion based off what they've heard on the news or what they read in some article instead of listening to the professional that you hired?
Yeah.
If you didn't trust that person, then you should fire them.
Right.
But if you do trust them, then listen to what they're suggesting. Had a conversation this morning. This agent or this client, she's wanting to sell the house, and we've had zero activity on the home. I've told her it's overpriced. Mm-hmm. Prices are trending down. We're trying to catch a falling knife, so we need to get ahead of that. She's just nervous, understandably so. But again, if your house isn't selling, My suggestion is there's a number of things. What were we going to say?
I'm going to ask your advice on. Do you have one more thing, and then I'm going to ask your advice on someone who's trying to sell their property and it's not selling.
Yeah. So we'll just go into that.
Okay. So they live in Texas, and I know what you're going to say. Well, there's your problem right there. But they own 20 acres in Texas, and there is a small house on the property. I think it's somewhere around 1,100 square feet or something like that. It's very small, 2 bedrooms, nice house. It's got two garages, two car garages. Again, 20 acres. They have animals on the property, but they want to move into town closer to school and work, etc.
Yeah.
So they're done with that lifestyle. But they priced it somewhere around $410, I want to say, which to me, I thought that was a bad idea, because then aren't you pricing out everyone else who has a maximum, who's searching up to 400,000?
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought that was a mistake, but I'm not sure.
You know why they did that? I can tell you why they did that. So this is probably the seller steering the conversation, but they said, hey, let's price it at 410. We're really willing to take 400, but then that way we have a built-in buffer.
Right. Okay. That's what I thought too. But I thought, well, then, but you're also eliminating all those people who are searching for a property under 400,000.
Horrible idea.
Yeah. And so now they're back. Now they're down to $399.99.
Yeah.
But I think it's been on the market for around 45 to 50 days.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know if that's a long time, especially for a property in Texas that's 2 hours outside of Dallas, and it's got 20 acres. But what are your thoughts? Is that really a long time for a property like that to be on the market, or what's your?
So as far as Texas, I can't speak to Texas, but I don't care if you're in Ione. I don't care if you're in Colfax. I don't care if you're in Roseville. If you price the home correctly, they're selling faster than 45 days.
Okay.
Like, it could be a weird house, but if you price it correctly, it's going to sell. Like, the amount of exposure a home gets with just your basic realtor marketing package, like, the 3 Ps, put on the MLS and it goes on realtor.com, and just that basic stuff is incredible compared to 20 years ago.
Right.
Like, there's people have the apps on their phones. They're getting a notification from Zillow the moment your house comes on the market.
Right.
Right. And then they're going to look at it. They're going to look at the photos, and they're going to make a snap decision.
Right.
And so, if you priced it correctly, the houses are moving.
So that's the first big mistake. Obviously, they priced it
So
poorly.
Yeah, so you want to price it correctly out the gate, because then it creates that scarcity mindset,
right,
where, oh my gosh, look at all these views, look at all these saves. It's only been on the market 2 days. We need to go see this before it's gone.
Right.
Whereas now it's like, hey, it's been on the market 45 days.
Something's wrong with it.
We'll go after the soccer game next Saturday.
Yeah.
It's not. It may not even
no
be right
rush.
for us. Yeah.
Right.
There's no sense of urgency.
Something's got to be wrong with it if it's been on there that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did everybody else that's looked at it 3,000 times on Zillow not pull the trigger? And so, pricing it correctly out of the gate, you cannot undervalue that. And then, but let's say
you cannot overvalue that.
It's very
it's
valuable.
Very important.
It's very important. So let's say you say, well, that doesn't help me at all, Johnny. My house has been on the market. Like, I had a call with a gentleman last night. I'm telling you, these calls come in all the time. A gentleman called me last night and was like, hey, I want a cash offer on my house. I'm like, well, what are you wanting to do? And he said, well, I need to sell my house so I can buy this replacement property I'm already in contract for. And I said, well, dude, your realtor's doing a phenomenal job. Like, look at the photos, look at the 3D tour. Are you happy with your realtor? Yes. Is he responsive? Is he communicative? Yes. Then stick with your realtor. Like, it comes, like, there's so many, we're running out of time here, but there's so many other things you can do before firing your realtor. Like, just make sure that the realtor is communicative, that they're following up with the showings, that they are actually have a marketing budget. They're not just putting it on realtor, that when the phone answers, your realtor has the bandwidth or staff to answer the phone, because you can't afford to miss those phone calls.
Right.
There's some things that you can do that help. And let's say that listing's stale, you can get new photos taken. That's not that expensive. You can rework the listing description. You have options, but at the end of the day, you can run the gambit. But if the house is not priced correctly, you wouldn't buy that house. The house is
right.
You wouldn't buy a house that's overpriced. Why should you expect your buyer to do the same?
Right.
So if you have any questions, if you want to reach out, if you're not on the market and would like to go on the market, go to madeformorerealty.com. We'd love to have an honest conversation with you about how we sell houses faster and for more money. That's madeformorerealty.com.